Alright, this is a JavaScript application which will show you which browser you are using and from where you are using this application. So let me just refresh this and show you. So detect browser and your location. So right now I'm using Chrome and this is the location from which I'm accessing. So let me open Firefox and check again. It is asking for permission and I'm using Firefox and this is the location from which I'm accessing this application. So let me just open the Edge and check for the same, and you can see from different browser. This is Chrome, this is Firefox, and this is Edge. Alright, let us just create this UI and let us create this functionality. If I click on detect browser, you will see the Chrome gets the opacity 1 and every other browser is still opacity 0.1. Cool. Now let's just write the code. To start, we need 3 files. I'm going to save it in the same folder. I'm just going to rename this. So the extension is important. In this case, it's demo.html. The .html is important. You can give any name. I'm just sticking to the name demo. And again, we need CSS file. The extension is .css. The same goes for JavaScript file. .js is the extension. And now for the boilerplate code, let me just copy paste this code and I'll just explain you each line what it contains. Now for the HTML head tag, I have linked the demo.css on the head and demo.js at the footer. Now I just added the font awesome icon for the location, and then we have a main container called wrapper. So the gray box which you see here is actually the wrapper, and then we have a browser, second a div which is inside wrapper, and then we have 4 set of childrens. The first one is header, the second one is the logo container, and the third one is the location which you will see later, and then we have a button. So this is the header as I said, and this is the logo container which holds all the logos, and then we have location div which is hidden and by default on clicking it it will show up, and then we have a button. So it is just a simple plain button tag with the text inside it. Now let me just save this and show you how does it looks without CSS. It's just a plain HTML which is there. So this is how it is without CSS. Now to add the CSS, we just need the CDN for the font family called Poppins. So let me just copy this and use it to save our time. Demo.css. So here we have a font family called Poppins, and which has the font weight of 300, 500, 600 and 700. Now for all the element I have made the font family Poppins, and I have removed the margin and padding, and then we have a body which, if you see, it's a let me show you. The background color is black, and whatever is there inside I have made it to be at the center. In this case the wrapper is at the center. So now let me just copy the HTML hierarchy so that we don't have to write each time, or we don't have to look back to the HTML each time to write CSS. So it has all the parent child hierarchy. Now for the wrapper, we can have the background color of something grayish, and then we can give the width of, let's say, 500 pixel, and we can have a padding on all sides, let's say 2 rem. 1 rem is 16 pixel, 2 rem is 32 pixel, and whatever is there inside I want it to be I want to act as text align center, and not to forget the color of all the text should be white. Cool. Now for the browser, it's just the direct children of wrapper. We don't have to fix it. In case if you want to give margin and padding, you can tease with that tweak that browser div, which is this one. Now we need a margin bottom of 1 rem or 2 rem. It's up to you. Let me just stick to 2 rem, which is 32 pixel, and then that same goes for the logos. And as of now, don't display the location, so let me just make this display none. It will show up once we click on the button, and the button width is going to be 100%, and the background color of the button is going to be black. And let's add the padding of 0.5 rem, and let's just make the color as white. And if you want, you can have the font size of 1 rem, which is 16 pixel, and remove the border. Cool. If I hover it, I want it to act as cursor as pointer. Cool. Now for the images, inside the logo we have image tag. We can give the width as, let's say, 50 pixel. Yeah, that works. And for margin, left as 1 rem, get it 16 pixel. If you want, you can remove the margin of this one by colon first child as last child. That should be first child. I'm sorry for that, I got a little confused. And now there is no 16 pixel space for the first one, and everything else are the 16 pixel. Now let's work on the JavaScript. When I click on this, by default let's let all the image has opacity 0.1. Let's get into the JavaScript. Document.query selector, which is button, and let's just store into a variable, and let's define it as a button tag. And when I click on this button, what should happen? When I click on this button, I want to run a JavaScript API, which is user agent, which is available for all the browsers by default. So navigator.useragent and browser info, and let's just store it into a variable called browser info, and just display it on the console. And I click on this button, so you'll get all the browser information. So this is Chrome, so you're getting the Chrome here. So if it is Firefox, you will get Firefox. If it gets Safari, it will show you a Safari. If it is Internet Explorer Edge, it would be Edge. So in that case, we'll just convert. I'm just going to search it as a string. So to avoid the case sensitive while matching the string, I'm making it as to lower case. Now if I click on this, you'll get all the text in the lowercase form. It would be easy for us to search. If the browser info dot search contains Chrome, it's small case, and if it is greater than -1, in that case console.log, it's Chrome. Let me just run this, and if I click on here, you'll see Chrome. So it's Chrome. For your distinction, let me just open Firefox, and let's just write the code for Firefox. By then it's open up. Else if it is Chrome, it's Chrome. If it is Firefox, it's going to be Firefox. Let me just write it on the if condition. Firefox. Save this. Fire. Cool. Let me just copy the URL and paste it on the Firefox. Not now. And we have to open the console. and once I click on this button, you should see the Firefox text should show up. Actually, it's again Chrome. You'll see this is a text. Yeah, you can see I have not changed the text, that's why it's showing up. It's showing as Chrome. Now if I click on detect browser, you should see Firefox. So in this case, let me just call the logo class which holds all the images. And I don't know if you noticed or not, in the HTML all the images had a class similar to the browser name, like Safari, Opera, Firefox, Edge, Chrome and Explorer. So we are going to use that. So inside the logo container, this is not single quote, it is the backtick which is above the tab. So we'll be just storing this into a variable called browser name, and this browser name contains the text. This text will be similar to what I have used it on the class name of the image. So it is going to match. If there is any match, in this case it's going to be either Chrome or Firefox. If it matches, then what we can do is we can add the style dot opacity equal to 1. So refresh this. If I click on this button, you should see the Chrome should have opacity 1. If there is no any error, I guess. Chrome, browser name Chrome. Actually it's style. So you can see Chrome has lit up. The same way, if I click on this, Firefox should lit up, and all the things will be of opacity 0.1. So the same case is for Edge. Let me just show you the code, and you will understand by yourself. I don't have to write each line, just to save our time, because all other code is going to be same as what I have taught. We just have to refresh, rename this, as I have copied it from different code which I have practiced this by myself. And here browser info name. Cool. Now the order is important. The first one is Edge. Let me just open Edge also and show you. Cool. By the time, if the text had EDG, then it's Edge. If the text has Chrome, it's Chrome. If it's Firefox, then Firefox. If it is OPR, then Opera. If it is Safari, then Safari. And this is different for Internet Explorer. I don't have Internet Explorer in my system, so I can't show you. Internet Explorer is the older version of Microsoft Edge. So cool. Along with that, for the Chrome, there are sometimes it does not display Chrome. In that case, if it may display as CRIOS, which is Chrome iOS, and then the same goes for the Firefox FXiOS, and Safari has different code if it does not have the text as Safari. Cool. Let me just copy this code and paste it, and in this case it should show Edge. Cool. Only Edge shows up. So I hope that is clear. Now we can work on the location. And now let's work on the location. If I click on this detect location button, and I am purposely making it as I am blocking, it is asking for the location. It is asking in such a way that this application wants to know your location. Do you want to give your access of location? And if I purposely make it block, and you will show the message saying that user denied permission to location access. So let's work on this. Now in our demo.js, and don't forget that you can anytime give access to this by clicking on this or you can refresh this and work on again. So enough for the tips. Now let's work on the functionality. Now for our demo.js, just after we show our browser name, and now we need to work on the geolocation API. So navigator also has geolocation, your look or yeah your location. And let me just console this for you, console.log. Let me just check whether we have any other console left. So to avoid confusion, let me just remove this and refresh this. Don't forget to open the console because our message will be shown on the console. Now if I click on this, you get a geolocation console, and it has some properties: get current position, watch position, and clear position. We want to work on get current location. So here again, uh, your location dot get current location, and here it will accept three parameters here on success function, on failure function, and optional function. Here for this example we just need two functions: on success, on error. So here to see the message we have to print something. So let me just define this success function. If user has given the access, we will be getting the position, and we will be displaying the position. And the second possibility is if user rejects the permission. In that case, we would be this function would be triggered. This is the callback function, the on which we have defined it. And here we'll get error code, error. Now if I click on this, actually I guess I have written wrong the function name. I need to go through it. It's current position, not location. Refresh it. It's going to ask for the permission. If I block it, you will see the error code 1, user denied geolocation. So here we will be getting a error dot code. So we can display the code as well. Let me just console it again. Error dot code. Quickly block. You will see 1. If error code is equal to 1, then we should display the message saying that user denied geolocation in a form of text. And if you know, in our HTML we have a location div. This is the text which we need to replace it. So let's just get into the JavaScript and call the location div. It's a class, so location tag, and inside the location tag we will be writing this location tag dot inner text. Refresh it, and before making that we have to make sure we have made this style dot display block. Click on it, block, and user denied geolocation. I think I have not given margin to this. Demo.css location margin bottom of 1 rem. Block the location permission, and yes, you got it. User denied geolocation. And the same. And one more thing, if the error code is true, that means if the error code is 2, that means it could not find your location. So I can't show you the error because it depends upon your internet connection. So this whole geolocation works on the internet connection. If you make the internet connection go away, you won't be able to location cannot find location. or else you can give your custom message saying that your browser does not support geolocation. So that could be a possibility too. If you use any other browser other than the browser which I have displayed at the top, in that case your browser may not support location API, purposely blocking it. Cool. Alright, now let's work on the location. Before that, you just need to understand one thing. We are going to use an API from OpenCage, so we will be passing an AJAX request to this website. So to get that, you just need to log in with your email account and log in into your email account. After that, get into the dashboard, and in the geocoding API you just need to click on a button and an API would be generated. For my safety, what I have done is I have got the API and I have placed it inside this JS apikey.js. Now I will be accessing and I have stored the API into a variable, and I will be accessing it from this apikey.js. So to make this Ajax work, you have to make sure you have a server installed. In this case I am using XAMPP, so you can use XAMPP, WAMP or MAMP according to your operating system. So I prefer XAMPP. So I have previously my project files were in desktop. Now since I am using Ajax, I need to be get inside to a XAMPP folder. In my case it's C drive, XAMPP, htdocs, C drive, XAMPP, htdocs. So I have to place this in order to make the API request work. Enough for the introduction for the XAMPP. Now let's just get into our code. Now we are able to show our request error message. Now it's time for the position. If you give access, let me just copy this and paste it, and it's demo.html. now click on it, and you will see it gave you a latitude and longitude. So you have to save your latitude and longitude. So let latitude longitude equal to, so you'll be getting it inside the object called coordinates, and you'll be getting latitude and longitude. Since we got latitude and longitude, now we need to pass it into a API. So just to save our time, we're just going to copy paste the code, script.js. So in this case, what I have done is I have called the AP. Wait a second, I think there is a mistake. Yeah, this is not closed, that's why it's showing an error. Cool, just ignore the error because I have copied the code half so that you understand. Now we are passing the received latitude and longitude into the API URL, Ajax URL, and along with our API key which is stored in my apikey.js. make sure your demo.html also calls the script file just above your demo.js. make sure this is very important or else it won't work. So this API will be received from this JS file, and since we are loading the file from top to bottom, it will read first file, then it will go for second file. Since we are in the second file, the first file is already read by browser and it has the reference to the API key. Now we need the details from the API key. So if they are giving you a chance, let me just go through. Cool, I have run a test API. So in the result, you see in the components, you see there are some list of parameter which we can access to. So inside the components you can see here as a response. So this is the response which I will be getting. Inside the response I am getting into the result. So inside the response, so this is the response and we have a result. So I think there are multiple results. There could be a chance of multiple results. That's the reason why I'm passing this index. If this 0, it means the first results. So in this case we have only one, so it may refer to this. And now inside the result we have a components. Inside the results we have bounds and components. So I'm accessing the components, and inside the components we have some set of variables which we need. So in this case I need suburb, I need state code, and I need postal code. So I'm calling all of them over here, and I'm storing it into a object called all details. Now we can access these individual values using this name itself. And I have used the table to display our values. So call this table and just paste it. Cool. So these values which we have received from the API, I have passed it into a table, and I have just modified the CSS accordingly. Let me get into style.css, and I have modified the table and a table data appearance. And now if you give a request, it will display all the data. Fine, the scope of this video is done. Thank you so much for listening.